Here we go then, listener. Woo! 3rd of January. I'll have some of that. As we bring you a brand new, the first of the year, European edition of the Totally Football Show. Hello, Alvaro Romeo.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Well, thank you so much. Do you want to do it in character?
In Basque.
Feliz año. Urte Berrión.
And the same to you.
Berrión.
Raphael Honigstein's with us for now.
James, frohes Neues.
Indeed so.
Hoarse voice.
Oh
What?
my God.
Yeah. Big New Year's Eve. All right. Julien Laurent.
Hello, bonne année.
Oui.
Bonne année.
And also James Horncastle. Hey up.
Hi, lad. How you doing?
Very nice. Thank you so much. So good to be here. We can look at the big games, answer the big questions. Questions like, Julien, what are we doing here?
Yes, I mean,
What, existential?
La Liga is starting just now. We had Coppa d'Italia nobody cares about. You know, like
What?
Milan,
There's been
Cagliari.
Some big shocks in the Coppa
Big
d'Italia.
shocks, yeah.
Big shock.
Luca
Like
Jovic.
Milan, Cagliari, yeah, exactly.
La Magica della Coppa.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. Magica Coppa.
And there's been 2 whole rounds of Serie A as well.
Yeah.
There has, yeah.
Since
So my
last
moment
time
of the
it's been-
week is...
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Oh, no, we'll come to that.
Really?
Also,
I've got nothing.
Rafa is panicking.
Usually from Liga, it's pretty bleak.
Oh my God!
there's been all of that.
So
There's also
bad.
been, we've all been to restaurants over the new
We have.
year, Christmas period. I'm
Yeah.
sure we've been to some really nice places. Hey, I
Like-
tried your Tatzelspitzel,
Oh, Tafelspitz, where?
No, in Center.
Where?
Prague.
In Plahuta. You were in
Plahuta.
Vienna.
I went to Plahuta.
And?
There were no girls in tight t-shirts. What's that about?
I didn't mention any of that.
Never
Oh,
mind.
and Hoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I
Go
did
ahead.
go there and I enjoyed it way more than I thought, given that it consists of boiled beef in
Yeah,
broth.
but it's incredible.
But
isn't it?
yeah, I know I enjoyed it and I'm glad I went. But the meal that I most enjoyed in Vienna was maybe, what was it called? Obufes it's called. It's a little kind of Greek place.
You went
Okay.
to Vienna for Greek cuisine.
I also
Yeah.
had sushi there, which was really good.
Wow.
Yeah, they're so close to the sea. They
Yeah,
can really first
but I also ticked the boxes of the Sakator and the Wiener Schnitzel and the
Did you
Hagenspitz.
go after
Tafelspitz.
Rafa mentioned that place?
Absolutely.
Oh wow!
Absolutely.
Did you have a good
That's
time in Vienna?
impressive.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a beautiful city.
Snowed.
Did
Oh,
you
nice.
waltz?
Did you waltz? Yeah.
I mean, in a metaphorical sense, yes. But that's enough of. That's enough of my. Yeah.
It's so bad to start the year.
Anybody else want to do restaurant chat? What's the best meal you had over Christmas, Jules?
Oh, we had raclette. Amazing raclette. I mean, it's a big dish in our house for
Right.
big days,
Literally.
and yeah, we
All
had
right.
literally a lot of raclette cheese, charcuterie, potato, because obviously it's very old school based, very good too.
Yeah. Shout out to my niece's husband who cooked goose for Christmas dinner.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
all right.
Yeah. Any good?
No, amazing. Yeah.
That's good. It's good because
Yeah.
sometimes you cook and.
Anybody else want to do this bit? Or shall I just move on? There's no football. No.
I went to some pubs in
Nice.
Yorkshire.
Right.
Yorkshire pudding.
No, not Yorkshire pudding. I went to a good pub in Yorkshire called the Pipe and Glass.
Nice.
There you go. In North Dalton, South Dalton.
Sounds like it should be
Timothy
some sort of
Dalton.
Backstreet crack den.
I mean,
Trap house.
if that's your commentary on Yorkshire destitution, James, they're your words, not mine. But yeah, going out tonight. What's
All right.
Again.
Yeah. Well, no, just the first time. I'm back in London. I only came back yesterday.
All right, where are you going,
to a place
James?
called
What are you
Mountain,
excited
which
about?
I think Raph has
Mountain,
already been
yeah,
to.
been
Where?
to Mountain.
Yeah.
Mountain is the sister restaurant of Brett.
Of Brecht.
Brett.
Breath.
Bertolt
Brecht.
Brecht. No.
Breath.
Brett.
Breast.
James, stop it.
It's like some kind of
Brat.
verbal
It's actually a
Rorschach
Basque
test.
place. It's a
So
Basque
it's a
place.
Basque place, yeah.
Yeah, called
It's called
Where
Brack.
we've been?
It's
Brat.
called
No.
Brett.
No,
Yes.
think spoiled
I'm
brat.
totally
Yeah.
lost
Ah,
now.
Brat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brat.
because apparently that is Cornish slang for...
Basques.
No. Cornish slang for turbo.
Turbo the fish.
The fish.
Not
and
the.
that is the speciality that they're cooking.
Twin turbo.
I think the T, a bit like Turandot. I think you have the T on turbot.
Do you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I believe so. I think so.
Yeah.
Alvaro.
I think so.
Anyway, so you're going to the sister restaurant of Brat, which is called Mountain.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The mountain named after the mountains of Cornwall.
All right, well, look forward to hearing how that goes in next week's edition. Alvaro,
What was the question
what was the
again?
best thing you ate over since we last spoke?
You know, my parents came,
Oh.
and my mother thinks that the English supermarkets don't have any food, so
Well, they
she
don't.
brings everything from
Enjoy a
Spain.
point.
Everything,
point.
everything, even the
Contraband. Smuggling
I
it
tell you,
across.
even the
on
sliced
those
bread.
small boats.
Or even sliced
Ah,
bread?
yeah.
Things
She went
like
a bit
this,
far
yeah.
there, but
yeah,
yeah.
that's going too far. But they have something called carrilleras, which is a
Ooh.
beef called cooked with red wine, which is really tasty.
Mhm.
Plenty of turrones as well. In Italy, they're called torrone.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, the usual Christmas treats, but it was all very good. Very
That
good.
sounds
No restaurants, it was just my mom
nice.
preparing everything.
The best kind of cooking.
That's the
Yeah.
best food, yeah.
Mm. Whatever. Sorry. Well, Raphael, did you want to move on? There's something you wanted to add?
No, I had an amazing.
Don't let him. You know what he's gonna say.
Or what?
I had
He's
an
the only
amazing meal.
one.
I had a few amazing meals.
Well, yeah, you know, he's the
I was
only
very
one who
lucky.
actually went somewhere
He
exciting.
went to Thailand. Well, okay, so Vienna's not good enough.
It's not
Yeah, it's
better than
amazing.
Thailand.
Yeah.
It's amazing, Vienna.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the food in Thailand, as you know, is pretty.
Is it?
Stunning.
Never been
Thai
to Thailand.
food. What is
You've
that?
never been to
I've
Thailand?
never been to Thailand.
Really, James?
Yeah.
Okay, I can recommend it. Anyway,
Okay.
lots of really good meals, but the best one was a place called Siam Country Club.
Okay.
In Bangkok, I ate a Thai ossobuco, which
Wow.
was really something very
Right.
special.
Was the chef Italian?
No,
Ah.
but they have a lot of really good Italian restaurants in
How about that?
in Thailand.
A lot of great Thai restaurants
the-
over here.
The second best,
Great sushi in Vienna.
Great sushi in Vienna.
Second best
Mochi, by the way,
restaurant.
if you're interested. Monchi.
Monchi, yeah.
Mochi.
Oh.
Oh, mochi.
I thought you were in Vienna with
Mochi.
Monchi.
So
Yeah.
briefly,
Waltzing.
Back to
probably
Raphael.
will
With
not make
Monchi.
the edit, but
Yeah.
second best restaurant
Yeah.
was a place in Koh Samui, which an Australian with Neapolitan parents
Oh, yeah.
opened, and it was sort of Italian Thai seafood place, which was
Wow.
Wow.
very simple but
Okay.
amazing.
Maybe we'll be talking about some other kind of ties now with the Coupe de as you mentioned, and the Coupe de France, Le Ronde de
spicier
64.
64.
Yeah, which is my favourite one.
Mm.
For reasons we'll get into very, very shortly, Jules.
Okay.
Once we've got the moment of the week out the way. Any moments of the week? Anybody?
Oh, I went to see at the cinema. I went to see Next Goal Wins with the kids.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Which is the story of American Samoa
Mm.
when they got the American coach Thomas Schwangen, who's now a pundit,
Mm.
but who used to be a really good coach, to like kind of
Would
make
you-
them a little bit better. It was really good.
Really good?
You know, it's
Does the football look realistic in it?
kind of, but it's really close to the real story, to the true story.
Okay.
And the book is very good as well. If you want to prefer reading the book, like James Horncastle.
All right.
Yeah,
I was the only one
books
reading
once,
here.
so it's
4
for
books.
Christmas, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Best
All
one
the-
was that Werner Herzog one, which has gone viral anyway, but it's an amazing book.
Werner Herzog.
The
His
Herzog
book.
memoir is
you've
incredible.
seen it.
How
Yeah,
can a
yeah.
book go viral exactly?
Because people talk about it on podcasts and then it goes, people,
I see.
and it sells out. The
It's the
publisher
highest,
doesn't run on the publisher.
highest selling.
It's
As
gonna
you
get-
knew with
it's
your
gonna
books,
get a
Raph,
massive
when they were
spike after
published.
this
No, no, I know,
podcast.
I remember.
Isn't that right, listener?
Like all the
Put down
restaurants
your
as well.
put down that other tab where you're ordering it. And Alvaro, shall I just move on?
I mean, the moment of the week. I mean,
Yeah. Have you got one?
La Liga started already.
Yes, yes.
So I would say, by the way, watch Hilary, the documentary that James Horncastle recommended. What was the name of the documentary?
I think it was.
Hilaria?
I think it's Unica.
Unica, yeah.
Which is after the T-shirt that Totti prepared. For
Oh, have you been
For
watching that?
Yeah, I really recommend it.
Okay.
It's real fun.
So many great documentaries out there at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the moment of a weekend
not the
has to
best
be
one.
Mason Greenwood being sent off.
Ah, okay. Tell us more
For
about
a
that,
reason.
but not yet.
Okay.
All right, Serie A wins with 2 rounds since we last spoke. We're going to begin in Italy next. Yeah, 2 rounds of action. James Horncastle got a new deal for Victor Osimhen and a rare moment of self-reflection from Napoli president Aurelio De Laurentiis. And the leading pair back to 2 points between them after last Friday, Genoa held Inter to a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, neither of those Napoli stories you mentioned were the biggest Napoli story. I would wager.
What was the biggest Napoli story?
Well, there have been 2 rounds of Serie A, as you mentioned, James, and Napoli were held last time out by Monza, goalless draw, and Matteo Pessina, the Monza midfield player, missed a penalty in that game. But before that, Napoli had lost to Roma at the Stadio Olimpico, where they were reduced to 9 men And it was only after they were in numerical inferiority, as our Italian friends like to say, that Roma won. But Walter Mazzarri was talking to the media after that game, kept talking to them. And by the time he came out of the press conference, the Napoli bus had gone. They'd forgot. It was like Home Alone or Rome Alone.
Rome
with
Alone.
Walter
Very
Mazzarri.
nice.
And he had to fork out and pay for a taxi
To Naples?
which cost him, I think, about €500.
Wow.
But you
What,
mentioned...
so they could not wait for him any longer
I
for the
think-
flight or something.
I think because he'd been away for 10 years,
Yeah.
forgot. They forgot he
Still.
was their coach. And
I
so he
mean-
wasn't on the coach.
That's
But yeah.
awful. Poor chap.
But
So bad.
you mentioned that Napoli signed Victor Osimhen to a new deal. They just rolled it on for another year with a bit of a pay rise and I think a buyout clause. And then Victor Osimhen over Christmas was seen in a nightclub, maybe celebrating this new deal and the new money that he's been getting because he was making it rain dollar bills or
was
euro
he?
bills.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real money or monopoly stuff.
Yeah, so that was that, and then as you mentioned, De Laurentiis, he'd given a
Extraordinary.
he'd given a big interview to Corriere dello Sport in which he blamed everyone else for Napoli's poor season. They're at 8th at the moment, so he said, I should have sacked Rudi Garcia the minute his
The day he
unveiling
arrived.
finished, because he
I should have said he's arrived and now he's leaving.
because he told me he'd never seen a Napoli game before. So he got criticism for basically blaming everyone else but himself. And then after the draw with Monza, he did the press
apologised, didn't he?
conference, presumably because he wanted Mazzarri to make the bus.
Make the bus, yeah.
So
last time.
he did the press conference and said, it's all my fault.
Oh, my fault.
I'm sorry. And then we're
Yeah.
going to have to intervene on the transfer market.
Yeah, he's promised 3 signings.
Yeah.
They've lost Elmas already, which is a bit of a strange move
Yeah.
now from Leipzig.
But I think Elmas felt that he was a player deserving of a starting role on a team, and he was always like the first guy off the bench.
Yeah.
25 million is quite a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
money
why-
for a bench
yeah.
player. And then some of the signings that they've made haven't really worked out, like Natan, the centre-back who's supposed to replace Kim. He's sort of been eased in. That was a stick to beat Garcia with. And so they're in for Dragozin along with
Yeah.
Spurs. And
They
then
can pick
there's...
Paulo Dybala up for 13 million.
That's the buyout clause. Yeah, I don't think Paolo will be leaving. I think that buyout clause is only optionable in a week of June or something.
Oh, really? Okay.
But there's Samadzic, the Udinese midfield player who spent 3 days in a Milan hotel thinking he was a new Inter player in the summer,
Right,
only for that to fall through.
right.
So yeah, Napoli are going to do some business.
Love it. Well, they need to because they're miles off the pace. Well, they're 8th?
They are, James. Yeah.
8th behind Inter. Sorry, miles behind Inter, who are top, although only 2 points clear of Juve after this last weekend, getting held by Genoa and arguably the coaching revelation of this season, Alberto Gilardino.
Yeah, Gilla, who I think this time last year got the caretaker role for Genoa. Genoa, who were in the second division. Genoa owned by 777, who have been trying to buy Everton and have been subject to quite a few investigative journalism pieces as to where their money comes from. But Gilla, who was sort of only meant to be in the job for a couple of games, went on this mad surge to promotion. And to be honest, they've looked safe ever since they came back. And you mentioned the fact, James, that they held Inter at the week on Friday night, I think it was. Sometime.
Friday.
We all
it was
lose
Friday.
track. But they'd also held Juventus
Yeah.
at home. Somewhat
They
controversial.
held Napoli, although they've beaten Roma and Lazio.
Yeah.
Gilardino, I mean, he was a decent player. But I think post his playing career, the thing that, for me, he was most famous for was being duped by that paparazzi.
Fabrizio Corona.
Corona, yeah. Nothing really made you think he's going to be a top fella on the sidelines, but that's what he's proving to be, because this team is largely the same one that he brought up from Serie B.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some good players, although players that they'd signed when 777 first took over the club. So we've mentioned Dragozin, who I might be interviewing later on.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Just when you thought You were out. They drag us in.
That's exactly. And Gudmundsson,
Yeah.
who is like the Icelandic Dybala, although there's some.
Albert on his shirt, not
Yeah.
to get confused.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Also, not to get confused with his great grandfather who played
For Milan,
For Milan
back in the
No
50s.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
I didn't. I had no idea. But the Gazzetta, your favourite newspaper, had a big thing about this with some old pictures, and it turns out he's kind of a figlio d'arte.
Yeah. But you're right, James. I think most people look at this as being a team with some experience, like Kevin Strootman, whose knees still seem to work incredibly. But I mean, Rafa has been telling us about Xabi Alonso and how Xabi is the sort of hottest property in coaching, and that kind of works in this school of thought that midfielders make the best coaches because they see both sides, both phases of the game from their position on the pitch. But in Serie A, we've seen strikers, Simone Inzaghi, and now Gilardino.
Gila.
We even saw Pippo Inzaghi get a win over the weekend.
Very
as well.
nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice. All right. Well, Juve are just 2 points behind because they had a 1-0 win. They're
6 now of this
no, their 12th 1-0 win of the
Calendar year.
of the calendar year.
23.
So,
Yeah.
sorry,
Already
6th
in
of the
this
season.
Yeah, I think
Incredible. Adrien Rabiot with his 14th of the season
Now
and a
he's born and
lovely
bred.
backheel assist from
From
Dusan Vlahovic.
Yeah, lovely move.
Yeah.
That's all they did. I mean, this is what they do, aren't they? They're
Yeah.
just so good at taking the lead and then usually defending it.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Rabiot has had an incredible 18 months at Juve. He's like one of the three captains of the team, which I think a lot of people wouldn't expect. He scored 12 goals, I think, since the start of last season.
Yeah, that's the 13th now.
So yeah, double figures, let's say, call it that. And whenever Allegri after the game says, no, for us success this season will be fourth, Rabiot always kind of says, no, since day one we've believed that we can win the league. We want to win the league. We watched the Inter-Genoa game on Friday night. We saw they dropped points, and that made us even more determined to go out and win this game. They won it. And so, yeah, Juventus, even with some players on the bench like Chiesa, they keep finding these youngsters from their next-gen team, like Yildiz.
Wow, that's what I was going to say. That's the big...
He's really
That's
good.
a Kenan Yildiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a goal. That was against Frosinone, wasn't
The
it?
Frosinone goal was beautiful, but he was playing up front with Vlahovic. And there was some sense that maybe Vlahovic plays better with Yildiz. Okay, it's a small sample size of like one game. But, Chiesa needs to have lots of space in front of him to counter-attack into. And not a lot of teams give Juventus that. And so if you've got someone who can play between the lines, stitch the play together a bit like Yildiz can, then it's a good option to have.
Yildiz, that was his first goal in Serie A for Juventus just before Christmas.
Yeah.
Beating, he's tightly marked by three men, skips past all of them, and then does the keeper at his near post. Very, very nice goal. To what extent is that indicative of the level of talent that we're seeing? Because everyone's gone a bit bonkers about him.
Yeah,
he
they've
was a
gone
Werner
bonkers about
Herzog
him.
autobiography.
But to be honest, the best young player in Serie A this season is also owned by Juventus, and he's on loan at the team that Yildiz scored against, Frosinone, Matheus Soulé. And, Juventus were the only team to start this next generation team in the third division, which was there to basically help their young players bridge the gap between youth team football and first team football. And it's really working. And, so Yildiz, I think, was signed from Bayern.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're
Scored
really,
against Germany.
Yeah,
Turkey's
Turkey.
3-2 win.
Yeah.
Under Vincenzo Montella.
Indeed.
So they're excited about him, but I think I'm not going to predict his career, but I think what we can maybe predict is what it means for Juventus' business in January, because I think things are going well enough for them to maybe think twice about signing a player in January. They've been linked with Calvin Phillips, Højbjerg as well, and yes, they do need some help in midfield because Pogba's suspended, Fagioli's suspended, but they keep winning games 1-0, as Jules was saying. So
Very nice.
There you go.
Very nice. To wrap it up, would you like to just briefly explain why the Decreto Crescita, getting the elbow, is such big news, and whether it's a good thing in your opinion?
Well, I would like Serie A to be competitive as it has been over the last 4 years, where Inter have reached a Champions League final and a Europa League final. when Roma have reached a Conference League final, which they won a Europa League final, and when Fiorentina have reached a Conference League final. That's all happened in the time frame in which this tax break, a flat tax, has been in place.
Which gave you tax breaks on players signed from abroad.
Players signed from abroad, but also if you wanted to bring Italians back from abroad. So, for example, if you wanted to sign Antonio Conte, or at the moment, if you wanted to bring De Zerbi.
Right.
Or Bonucci.
Right, which nobody does.
Nobody wants him. And so this has given Serie A clubs a competitive advantage at a time when their TV deal has gone backwards. They're not building new stadiums. And now they're not going to be able to use it. Now, people will say you shouldn't be giving the 1% tax breaks anyway. But I think in the grand scheme of European football, teams in Italy, France, Spain are not the 1%. Premier League clubs are the 1%. And so, I don't know, I think it's a bad thing, and I think it will have an impact in January because it comes in effect from January 1st, and that means that teams like Milan and Roma have used it to sign good Premier League players like Tomori, Tammy Abraham and that sort of thing, won't be able to use it, which will be a problem, I think, for Premier League clubs.
I mean, the figures, estimated figures have saved about 20 million euros a year, clubs like Milan and Roma, so it will have an impact. But maybe more young Italians coming through, that's the hope.
But the thing is, they already are. I mean, you can look at the guys who Mourinho keeps giving debuts to at Roma. You look at the next-gen guys at Juve. You've got Inter at a time that are less internazionale because they're playing with 5 Italians all the time.
Even Milan with Simic and some
under-19 team. Italy's under-19 team won a European champions. The under-20s reached the World Cup final.
Nice.
So
plenty of talent there.
Yeah, keep the tax break.
Nice. Nice. Next up, let's talk about Germany. Rafa, when's the Bundesliga back?
12th of Jan.
All right.
So another 10 days.
Another
nearly.
10 days.
Yeah.
So you're going back to Thailand, Raf? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not going back to Thailand, but I'm going to Marbella.
Oh, because of course.
Like every year,
Borussia Dortmund.
Are you?
Which
might
is
feature.
quite topical.
Do you think you'll see a certain Jadon Sancho
I think
there?
I will see a certain Jadon Sancho.
All right.
I'm going on Friday, and I think he might actually beat me to it and arrive a bit earlier. Talks are very advanced. Dortmund, a few weeks ago, felt this was a total non-starter for various reasons, but I think their thinking has changed a little bit in the wake of a very poor end of the calendar year.
For them or for Man United?
Well, both, but Dortmund's was worse. They didn't win any of their last 6 games in all competitions. And Edin Terzic survived, but they're bringing in two new assistant coaches, former players, Nuri Sahin and Sven Bender. But I think they also felt that changes were necessary on the pitch, especially in those wide positions where I think the wingers have struggled this year to produce reliable output. Malen, Adeyemi, Binu Gittens, they struggle against deep defences. They're good on the break, but when Dortmund have possession and control, they've been very ineffective, and Sancho, of course, is the perfect player for that.
Okay. The Italians have a phrase for this kind of thing, reheated soup.
Yeah.
What did they say about that in Germany?
It's similar. It's a similar expression.
In Germany, is reheated soup better than the first time, or is it worse?
I mean, you have the ribollita, which kind of...
Exactly. Yeah. But that's not reheated, no.
Yeah.
But isn't it? The name suggested it is.
Well, it's sort of reused now.
It's
like almost scraps that you put together.
I mean, Dortmund have tried this before. They brought back Mats Hummels, they brought back Mario Götze. They brought back Nuri Sahin as a player as well. But I think in this case, it's seen as a very low-risk endeavour because from what I was told, they're only paying 3 million euros all in for 6 months, and that includes wages and a loan fee. So United paying effectively for the privilege of having Sancho out of the club and back on the pitch, which I think is in their interest as well in the long run. And Dortmund can then make up their minds, if this is something worth pursuing beyond the summer, or if that was it. And I think United being willing to go so far in terms of accommodating this financially, making it happen, has changed Dortmund's thinking. I think a few weeks ago when I spoke to people there, they were like, we can't make this happen. They were probably thinking about his wages and some of the problems that he's had, both in Dortmund and at Old Trafford, with punctuality and stuff. There's sort of quite a high maintenance aspect to having him around. But I guess for 6 months, especially under Edin Terzic, who was instrumental bringing out the best of him when he was interim coach, and for 6 months in 2021, they feel that it's a risk worth taking.
Okay. Any other big transfer stories in Germany? Any perhaps involving Stuttgart Serhou Guirassy?
Not yet. The assumption is that he might well leave because his release clause is so ridiculously low.
How much is it, Raph?
17.5 million euros.
17.5 million euros.
Unconfirmed, but these are the numbers that are getting quoted in Stuttgart.
Right.
Well, Milan were looking at him, but Decreto Crescita, tax break, means it makes it more difficult for them to sign a player like that on the terms that they would find acceptable.
19 goals in 18 appearances, but I'm sure a lot of clubs are interested in him.
Yeah, a lot of clubs are interested in him. He, I think, is quite open to going. Stuttgart, of course, would love to keep him because they're in the run for Champions League places and having a fantastic season. But he might well stay, thinking that he will have more options in the summer. January window isn't always the easiest, both for players and for teams. And of course, he's going to AFCON as well, which reduces, I guess, the temptation for clubs to make that move happen now, because you'll effectively only get him for 5 months.
Sure.
Maybe you do that a bit later, and then he has another season, half a season at Stuttgart to progress further. But I guess the biggest transfer news or non-transfer news in a way was Carlo Ancelotti signing a new deal at Real Madrid.
We're going to come on to that later on,
because it does have repercussions.
What's Xavi going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's not going to go to Real Madrid, and that's the big news in a way, because a lot of people assumed that this was kind of a foregone conclusion. Ancelotti's going to Brazil to have a good time, do even less coaching than usual.
Honestly, 14 bad months at Bayern.
It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of the coaching. Anyway, and Xabi was his designated successor, but now that he's staying, or perhaps going somewhere else, it throws a new complexion on things. And I think in the short run, it's obviously fantastic news for Leverkusen, because the longer this Ancelotti story would have gone on, at some stage, I think Alonso or the club would have been forced to make some kind of statement of what happens further down the line. And now they're in a position to, I think, push this debate away down into the long grass for a little bit longer. And that's a big boon for them, because they're still fighting on 3 fronts. I think they are favourites to win at least 2 of those competitions, the Europa League and the German Cup. And of course, they're still top of the Bundesliga as well.
Right.
So
Can they cope in January, Raf, considering that some of their players will be going for AFCON?
Victor Boniface.
mainly. It's a question. I think the squad is deep enough, as we've seen from the relative ease with which they've negotiated the Europa League group stage, where they've made changes. He's spoken about Alonso about the need to perhaps bring in a couple of players. Let's see if Leverkusen do anything. So far, we haven't seen much indication they will do so. But I think the squad is probably deep enough to cope, considering that you don't have that many games in January for
German
Bundesliga side.
And Schick came back, didn't he, just before the break and scored straight away almost. So he's a different player to Boniface, but he's still an amazing.
And you never know how long a nation will last in the African Cup of Nations. That's another thing as well.
Also
Correct.
true.
Yeah.
Left us, aside from Osimhen, Boniface, Guirassy and Wahi, are there any other good strikers in Europe that Arsenal could sign this January? Anyone who's right? Hey, Kylian Mbappe. What do you think?
There you go. I'm sure Arsenal can afford.
How much would that be, do you think?
The transfer fee, there's no transfer fee because he would not go now.
Right.
But I don't know if there was 6 months left of his contract. 100 million plus the wages is the big, it's the big issue.
Okay. 6 months left in his contract.
Yeah.
Any
So
noises
there is-
from the Mbappe family?
From them, no. From Real Madrid, we heard as of it was so predictable, and the Spanish press was so predictable, and Florentino Perez is
1st
so
of January
predictable.
at 12:01.
Exactly.
The news
You
was
knew
published already. Yeah.
some conflicting news at times,
Oh,
some saying the same thing, and in the end,
What are they
been-
saying?
Well, that Mbappe, they were going to try again, and at
Jules
some
is
point
they-
respectful
they-
of
they
the
will
Spanish
bring-
press corps.
bring
Shining
I love
through.
it. I
Bringing
love
back
it.
to the surface the subject. No more than that. No more than that.
Operación.
Operación
Operación
Mbappé,
Mbappé.
yeah, things like this. But it's been
Tic-tac, tic-tac.
tic-tac with Federer. It's been 3.5 years of these talks. I mean, it's incredible the amount of think that has been spent on Mbappé for nothing to happen yet.
It's like Nicholas Gaetan in Man United or Wesley Schneider in Man United.
You wish.
No?
But any other strikers then, apart from this Mbappe fellow, that should be on the radar?
We're just casting out names
Yeah,
of strikers.
That's what, yeah.
Do you
Well,
want to know who the top
Ar-
scorer?
Artem Dovbyk from
There you go.
Girona.
Nice, yeah.
Honestly, he's
Yeah.
a very good player.
Mm.
Top scorer in Serie A in December, just the month of December.
In the month of December, who was top scorer?
He plays for Udinese,
Oh,
and he scored Lorenzo Luca.
yeah.
His name is Luca. He was the leaning tower of Pisa. Remember, Ajax signed him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I remember. I was
Oh,
gonna say.
yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Really
he's-
tall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really tall guy, the leaning tower.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I missed that.
I doubt Udinese would sell him in January, but he had a good December, which considering all of the narrative around Italy can't produce strikers. And I mean, Immobile is an interesting one, by the way, because he was he was having a bit of he was venting in November because he was in and out of the team because he's injured. He wasn't in the national team at a time when the national team needed a striker. And he was even being criticised by Lazio fans. And he said, well, maybe I should have taken that offer from Saudi Arabia in the summer. Maybe I will in January. And, given Newcastle are owned by a company which has shown that it has no legally binding ties or whatever with the Saudi state. I
Immobile
don't know.
at St James's Park.
Could you imagine that?
Can you imagine that?
You probably have to imagine it because it won't happen.
But anyway. Well, very good. Let's move on to Spain then, because football is back underway there. Alvaro. The big games I think are happening tonight and tomorrow though.
Operación Fútbol.
Operación, there is a very good one, Girona Atlético
Mm.
happening, and then Barcelona Las Palmas as well is a good one, with the former Barcelona B coach against Barcelona, García Pimienta.
That Barcelona Palmas game, could that see the debut of the new star signing?
Barcelona, and this is a circular narrative because we always go back to this thing, but Barcelona is waiting to register him.
They haven't done.
They haven't done it, so we
So
don't
this
know whether
is
that will happen on time.
Vitor Roque.
Vitor
or
Roque.
Roque.
Or Tigrinho,
Oh yeah.
as they call it in Brazil.
What do they call him?
El Tigre.
El Tigre.
Little
Okay,
tig-
Tigre.
little tiger.
Well, the
no?
little
Little
Tigre. Or
Tiger.
Tigrinho. Yeah.
Tigrinho.
Or Chigrinho.
Or Tigrinho.
Chigrinho.
Tigrinho.
I'm glad we got to the point. This is like Roger Schmidt.
No, I'm
Or
correcting
Bielefeld.
Alvaro.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're
he went with
Rafa.
a hard T.
Yeah.
So wrong.
I trust on your
Yeah,
language skills.
So
Chigrinho.
he's 18.
Yeah.
Wasn't expected to come till next summer,
Correct.
but they've rushed him in, except they haven't managed to actually register him. But he's parked somewhere in the Catalan capital right now.
Yes, and we may know very soon whether he can play against Las Palmas. He comes from Atlético Paranaense, as far as I remember. He has scored many goals in Brazil.
He hasn't.
He has
Oh, he has,
scored
okay.
many goals in Brazil. Quite strong, very fast.
Roque.
Maybe not very technically gifted yet, or not a finished product when it comes to that. But he will have the chances to play at Barcelona. That's the thing, because Robert Lewandowski needs a break every now and then, that's for sure. And Barcelona doesn't have any other nominal number 9, apart from Ferran Torres, who can be a makeshift number 9. But I think that Vitor Roque may have a few chances very soon.
Okay.
And the Spanish Cup will be underway this weekend, so
Good time to blood him.
the Spanish Cup gave a chance last season to Ansu Fati to rediscover his form. Same thing may happen to Vitor Roque.
Okay. Any other big transfer tales at the moment? in
No,
Spain?
the only thing was the contract extension of Isco,
Oh, yeah.
which
which they announced with a remarkable video.
I did not see this.
Can you explain this? So
With the
basically, there's a kind of Andalusian Ali G making his way around Sevilla to some appropriate beats, and then you take up the story, Alvaro, because I'm still confused about what I've seen.
No. I honestly cannot take up that
he
story.
He arrives gesticulating topically, because Ali G very much the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And he arrives, and a car pulls up in front of him, and out gets Isco, who basically tells him to calm down, and then holds up a shirt, and that's the end of the thing. There's got to be some connection.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is.
No, I think I don't know what the connection is. Sort of about that. The Betis social media team is very, very imaginative as well. So
okay.
they have done things like this in the past too.
Right.
And I mean, in
Is it
football,
a Joaquin joint? Is it the sort of thing that would come out of Joaquin's?
Joaquin could be the script writer for a few things like this, because he's the kind of guy who has this, humor and all that.
Right.
But I think the extension
Joaquin
is...
aside. And all
joking aside. But he's a player that deserves to get a contract extension. He was out for 6.5 months,
right.
Which probably gives some hope to players like David De Gea, I don't know, who have been out for a long time as well. Isco came back. He showed from the very beginning that he was totally fit, and from match day number 1 in La Liga, he's been making the difference for Betis.
Excellent. All right. Well, as you mentioned, it's co-leaders Girona. Thank you. Sorry. Hosting Atletico Madrid.
Both are correct,
Wednesday
by the way.
night. Well, there you go. There you go. And I say co-leaders because Real are now level with them after Girona dropped points at Betis just before Christmas.
Yeah, because Betis at home, they are quite solid, and because Girona cannot win every game. But the good thing about them is that they are not losing either. They have suffered that loss against Real Madrid, and after that they've been flying. They beat Barcelona. This is going to be a proper test against Atletico de Madrid. And Girona says now that the main target this season is to qualify for Europe. Obviously they are downplaying themselves a little bit, but still, after getting 45 points and on the basis of what we have seen and how daring they have been even in big profile games, we have to consider them definitely favorites against Atletico de Madrid. I will say that, yes, because Atletico has had dips in form. I know that they ended up the year just beating Sevilla comfortably, but Girona right now at home, it's a more composed side, and they know what they are doing. They are very dangerous. They are not going to change their style. I could imagine Atletico sitting back a little bit, like they did against Feyenoord in the first 20 minutes of that game, and then trying to, write in the script from that point. But Girona, as I said before, I mean, I have no reason right now, Girona, I have no reason to believe that Girona won't play on the front foot. So I think that it's going to be a fascinating encounter.
Excellent. Okay, and Copa del Rey coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
Is there a fixture there in particular that leaps out?
A couple of derbies. Tenerife Las Palmas, which is big for them, and Athletic Club Bilbao Eibar. Yeah, which is another one that I'm going to be paying attention to. But other than that, this round doesn't have any particular big games.
Just as well, because we're all going to be watching the Ronde de 64 of the Coupe de France.
I was actually looking for.
I'm going to give you the fixtures, Jules, because they're tattooed on my mind. That's coming up next. All right, Liga not back for a bit, but that's great news because more space for one of the world's more remarkable cup competitions, I would say, the Coupe de France, as you got sides from the other side of the Pacific.
Exactly, 8,000
it might be the
teams.
same side of the Pacific, I'm not sure, but a long way away. How many teams?
8,500 teams at the start.
8,500 teams.
Yeah.
Jules has played in it.
Jules has played in it.
You
That's how
played in
far
it?
down
Yeah.
it goes. So
Exactly. Including, I think in total, almost 200 teams from all the French islands, so Martinique, Guadeloupe, Mayotte,
Speaking
Réunion.
of which, so we're in the round of 64, just 64 teams left.
Yeah.
And Lille are taking on Golden Lion. Are they actually called Golden Lion, or are they called Redor?
No, Golden Lions,
Golden Lion.
Saint-Joseph in Martinique, yeah.
Right, in Martinique.
Yeah.
So are they going to the Antilles? I think Martinique. Are they going?
The Antilles, so the French Caribbean.
They're going out there, or are they coming over to theirs?
They're coming.
And if they get a draw, do they take them back to the Antilles?
We don't have any replays in
no
the French
replays.
Who pays for the trip? The FA.
For the trip, and then they usually stay at Clairefontaine. Well, it depends against who they play.
Right.
But you can stay at Clairefontaine and train almost like the French national team, and then travel to where you. So for them, as good as it would be to host and have Lille coming over, they also like to come to the Métropole, to come to France.
Get some shopping done.
Exactly. Although the weather is obviously not the same.
Not the same.
If you think about it at all at this time of the year. But yeah, it's a great experience. And
Jules, how many rounds have they played already? Yeah. And are they just crisscrossing the ocean all the time?
You sure it's round of 64? Because round of 64 will be 128 teams.
Oh, is it? I thought round of 64 meant 64 teams.
No,
usually round of 16 is 16 teams in the World Cup.
Yeah.
So maybe it's around 120.
No, maybe it is.
To be honest, it doesn't matter. There's some funny teams from far away.
So they would have played, I would think, already 5 rounds or 4 rounds.
Wow.
To get there.
Wow.
Obviously, depending on your league.
Yeah.
You don't obviously at the bottom.
Yeah.
Which was not my team.
No.
But start really the rubbish, really low grassroots teams.
Uh-huh.
And then some others like the Ligue 1 club come in later.
Right.
But even if you're playing, let's say, in the 7th division in France, you don't play the first 2 rounds. You only come in the 3rd round.
Sure.
So yeah, it's good gradually.
They play in the Martinique Division d'Honneur, which sounds pretty good.
Yeah, which for us would be like the 7th division, I think.
Okay. When you played, who did you draw? Were you hoping for a Caribbean side?
No, so at the beginning you play teams of your region to start with, so you don't travel too far. And after that, you start going, you can go anywhere in France. So one year, I can't remember the team, but we went to Brittany.
Okay, nice.
All the way. So when we played in the 4th division, we had big trips to do anyway. So it was not, but if you're a team from the 8th division, for example, where really this is all new to you and having a bit of travel to do is pretty cool. And I think I said the other day, maybe on the show, you get to keep the special shirt that you play with. And if you go to the 4th round, you get to keep the shirt, which is everybody's dream when you play in the
Do you know who's bottom of the Division d'Honneur?
In La Martinique?
I don't actually.
It's a team called Good Luck.
Good Luck. Oh, God.
Right. They need it.
They need it. Yeah. Revel... Just before, I think it was back in December, wasn't it? The clip went viral of them watching the draw and seeing who they got. They play down in the 6th tier. Where are they from, Revel?
They're near Castres, Toulouse, so the stadium would be in Castres, so southwest.
Yeah.
And in France, which may be the same case here, but if there's 2 divisions apart, the lower ranked team hosts.
Oh, is that right?
So even if PSG had been drawn first,
right? So they get PSG and amid scenes when the news came through, they were so happy.
You would be at home,
right? Yeah.
So special. The Revel stadium is too small and not. Can't have television and things like that. So instead of playing in Toulouse, they're going to play in Castres, the rugby stadium, which is 13,000 seater. But it's going to be an amazing party and it's a very, very good occasion because they're on television, which those players I think they know they're not going to beat PSG, but they will be on primetime television.
They're going to revel in it, aren't they?
Imagine if they revel.
Yeah.
Jules,
there will be some revelations.
Just going through some of the teams here, Jules, who is Union Sportive Thionville-Lusitanos?
Oh, I can tell you exactly who that is.
Okay.
5th tier Thionville-Lusitanos, which kind of basically means the Portuguese of Tuisville.
Exactly.
Yeah. But weirdly, they used to be called Fußball Club Deidenhofen.
Hey, really? Guess what? Yeah, because in 1943, Fritz Walter, who went on to win the World Cup in 1954 with West Germany, he played for them.
Right. Are they from Alsace? Or?
Yeah. France,
so Thionville used to be in Germany until the French grabbed it.
Of course.
After the First World War. And then they got renamed from Fußball Club Deidenhofen. What does that mean? Something trousers? Okay. Deidenhofen, and then they became the Thionville Portuguese, which is a bit of a switch.
No, so I think they were Thionville first.
Okay.
Often Lusitanos were their own clubs.
Oh,
and there's a strong
then they
community,
emerged,
and then they merged. Yeah. So, for example, Créteil-Lusitanos or Saint-Maur-Lusitanos in Paris merged as well with Créteil-Lusitanos.
Speaking of Créteil, Marseille are going to be visiting them for that game. Holders Toulouse, they're away. Another 5th tier side, Chambéry, gateway to the Alps.
Yeah, exactly. If you go skiing, for example, you
might have gone through Chambéry.
Exactly.
Also travelling to another country, are Monaco, who'll be visiting Lens.
Yeah, that's the big one.
That's the big
really
one. 7th against 3rd.
Brest, your favorite French club, against Clermont, maybe, I think, as
Is
well.
that right?
Yeah.
And Pontarlier
near Sochaux, so in the east. Lovely cheese over
Okay.
there.
You know who they're playing?
Oh yeah, what kind of cheese?
Comté, especially.
My
Conte
favorite
is
man.
from-
Comté is from
Is it?
Pontarlier.
Oh, I
from,
like the
yeah, from
Comté.
near, yeah.
Amazing. Too.
What's your favourite cheese? Jules?
Conte.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it your favourite cheese?
Yeah, although
Not
I can't
raclette?
eat it. I can't. Well, raclette is good, but I'm dairy intolerant, so I should not eat it. But I eat
Oh,
it still because I
right.
can't compromise on the.
But
content.
Conte, isn't that dairy as well?
Yeah, that's why I compromise.
But he
Oh.
compromises.
Yeah. I say
Right.
like there's a rule for all the other cheese, but Conte. Conte is special. Rafa doesn't believe in food intolerance, you know. So.
No, I'm also slightly
Oh, really?
lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't eat it either.
Right. But anyway, Pontarlier, home
Pontarlier.
of the cheese. They are...
Home of Conte, especially. They've got other cheese,
Yeah.
but Conte is the main one.
Okay.
Antonio Conte.
Yeah. Antonio Conte.
Oh my god.
N'Golo.
Compton.
Aye.
So they're going to be playing Lyon,
Yeah.
who finished off the year 2023 as it was by winning their 3rd straight game.
Yeah,
under
Stonewise.
Peter Stone.
Yeah. Pierre Sage, so
Yeah.
Stonewise. Doing really, really well. He hasn't got the job just yet for the rest of the season, but we hope we are expecting him to be announced very soon now. And they even are trying, because who would want to go to this mess, but still trying to recruit new players like Saïd Benrahma, for example, for Lyon. They've been in contact with him, hopefully making that deal happen. John Textor says he's got a bit of money to spend, so we'll see.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. And obviously on Wednesday night, a few hours after we record the show, there's the French Super Cup, the Trophée des Champions, which couldn't be played in August in Thailand because the Thailand government just bailed on it.
Oh.
So instead, we had the Parc des Princes between PSG.
Was Saudi
who are
Arabia
not-
not available?
No, they tried.
It's really
but
hard
no.
to
No,
get a
because
Super
Spanish-
Cup played at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
it's
is like
Turkish,
Turkey,
yeah.
Turkish one, yeah. So PSG Toulouse at the Parc des Princes, but there's no PSG are not the home team,
Right.
and the fans are not happy. So there will be no PSG Ultra, no Toulouse Ultra.
Are they not
Why?
happy because Raf
That-
gave them a load of restaurant recommendations for Thailand and now they can't?
Maybe, but also because they're not happy that it's at the Parc des Princes, and really it should not be at the Parc des Princes. They can't
Why are
go
they
to
not happy
the
about
Stade de
it being at their
France
home?
because of the Olympics.
Right.
Stade de France
So-
isn't really in Paris either.
Yeah.
It's just outside. It's very, very right to point this out.
But why are they not happy about having the Super Cup in their own home stadium?
Well, no, I think so the Toulouse fans were not happy and first
Oh, I
boycott
see, right.
the game, and
Right.
then in solidarity, the PSG Ultra said, "Yeah, they're right.
Oh,
It should
okay.
not be at the Parc des Princes, so we're not going to go either."
Right.
So
If you're in Paris, get along. Sounds like the ticket's
I
available.
mean, play at
Loads of
the
them, yeah.
Bernabeu, man. The Libertadores was played there instead of Argentina. I'm sure that they will be happy to take
Yeah.
a final.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, but no, so it's tonight there.
The Turkish Super Cup is an extraordinary story. Do you want to just finish off by explaining it, James?
Well, I was indulging over Christmas, so I wasn't following a lot of football. But from my understanding, did they not pull out because it was supposed to be happening on like Ataturk Day?
Yeah, and they were
Yeah,
going to
so they
wear
wear a
branded
t-shirt,
Ataturk
The
sporting
woman,
gear.
the 100th anniversary
Mm.
of
And the Saudis said, no, you can't do that.
you can't do politics,
Yeah.
Okay.
which from Saudi is a bit, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
And so
FIFA
they...
as well.
So they say, well, if we can't have the T-shirt, we're not going to play.
right, which I think they should be applauded for.
Very
Yeah.
much so. It was 4 days after Fenerbahce and Galatasaray played in the league, which
Right.
was a very boring nil-nil draw. And they
Apart
both,
from the
they both-
Icardi black eye.
yeah, the black eye. That was
Ooh,
the only spectacular
Lord.
thing. They both joined top of the league, by the way, by far.
Right.
So everybody was looking forward to the kind of replay.
Yeah.
In a way, in the Super, but it's-
Well,
yeah.
Icardi posted this photo on Instagram of him with a black eye. Or Wanda posted it. Wanda, who
Wanda,
won
who
Dancing with the
danced.
Stars, Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah.
Incredible comeback story given her illness as well, which she'd been recovering from. But I don't think there was an explanation for the black eye. It was just like, this is, the intercontinental derby between Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. And everyone's favourite transfer insider, Fabrizio Romano, basically tweeted Icardi's sort of statement or that sort of thing. And Edin Dzeko replied to him and basically said, "Come on, you're better than that, Fabrizio." Icardi ran into a post.
Ran into a post?
Yeah,
or something like that, yeah.
But then
Okay.
Wanda was putting makeup on the black eye,
Okay.
which
What does it all mean?
You can't believe anything anymore, can you? You know? So
Not even favorite.
By the way, to start the year, guess
Yeah.
who has just followed me on Instagram? Will Still.
Will Still.
So Will Still is a new, obviously my new best friend. Here we go.
Okay.
I still know Jean-Michel Aulas, who somehow followed Horny for many, many years.
Is he really? Jean-Michel Aulas
big
follows
fan
you.
of mine.
Yeah, massive.
Who's the most surprising person who finishes you, Alvaro?
Cannot tell you now.
No?
Florentino, surely
Florentino,
Perez.
really, yeah.
Surely.
Everyone follows Rafa, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's great news. Well, hello to you, Will Still, if you
Hello,
are
Will.
also following Jules' many media outlets.
Yeah.
Lovely to have you on board. And that's it for today's show. What a great note to finish on, Jules. Thank you for that.
Don't forget to watch Netflix as well, Captains of the World, of
Captains
course.
of the World. Why
Review of
was
the
that?
2022 World Cup, because it's an amazing review a year on of the
All right.
2022 World Cup. And also
what it meant to Julien Laurent.
Yeah,
Are you
especially
in
the final.
The deleted scene alternative ending where France win.
Well, there's a scene in the final that, you will recognize the temper there.
Oh.
Germany don't feature.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Well,
actually, that's very true.
Nor do Italy.
No, do Italy, no.
Yeah. All right.
And even
There is
Spain, not
a
that much.
cliffhanger in there that I left before my moment of the weekend.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did we
well,
not do your moment of the weekend?
No, because you told me this is for later.
We have
Yes.
The Mason Greenwood
What
thing.
was it? I
Mason
can't
Greenwood red
Mason,
card.
but,
Ah,
let-
yeah, the
let
Mason
me-
Greenwood
let
red
me-
card.
Let me explain to you what happened there.
Yeah.
And this is when in post-production they will probably beep what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
But
Ooh.
Mason Greenwood
Ooh.
was sent off
Yeah.
for allegedly telling the referee fuck off.
Really?
But Mason
off,
Greenwood
just F
argues
off.
that he said. So this could be a case for a lip reader
Hang on. This
That's
is
a
F off
James
in
Cleverly
Spanish.
move,
Eh?
isn't it?
You
Really?
say F
No,
off
in
in
English,
Spanish.
in English.
in English. Yeah.
So the referee spoke English.
Well, I mean, I think everyone
Probably
gets
not.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
No?
I've done it now.
No worries. Post-production does marvels
Right.
to the shows. But this could be a case for a lip reader because Getafe wants to challenge this.
Yes.
So let's see what happens there.
I
but
mean, are we
it's a-
going down that route?
So from-
I
It's a
did
Manchester
not
accent
tell
as
you
well.
to fuck off.
from
You should have
rubiales to labiales.
Nice. Nice.
which means lip reading.
Yeah.
In Spanish. That's
Nice.
niche. Good. All right, then. That's more than enough. Totally football show for today. There's another one along on Thursday talking about the Premier League. Talking about the FA Cup third round. Woof. For now, many thanks to James, Alvaro, Rafa, and Jules. And you, listener, we'll see you soon. The Totally Football Show podcast is available 3 times a week, bringing you all the football news you could reasonably be expected to care about. We've got views, we've got stats, we've got analysis, we've got some of the best football writers around, and the whole thing is absolutely free. So have a listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or all the usual places by clicking on the link below.